One thing that I've learned about mentorship is that if you're going through life and you don't have it, you're going to experience learning curve cost. It's gonna cost you something. I had a situation in my life where I was actually a young Navy SEAL, fresh out of training, and the most cocky a person will ever be is when they just achieved something and haven't done anything else yet. So I had done nothing in my life so far, and I was very dangerous at becoming something that we might call in the Navy a turd. And I was able to avoid that based on the fact that I had a mentor in my life. I had an older guy that grabbed a hold of me and said, "You're mine." Kind of a quick story. I was about 2 minutes late to a morning meeting, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but it sure was to my platoon chief. He told me, "Hey, stick around and I'm gonna give you a little bit of a punishment." I said, "Okay." Stuck around afterwards. He said, "Hey, it's not a big deal. I don't wanna give you a hard time about it, but give me a favor, grab a backpack, fill it full of 50 pounds, and run the Paraloft Tower one time for every guy in the platoon." That's a 5-story building and we had like 22 people in the platoon. So it seemed like he was joking, but he wasn't. I went downstairs immediately, filled my backpack full of weight. He had followed me down and said, "No, Nick, you can't do it right now, man. Come on, in place of a workout? No, this is something you have to do after work or else it's not a punishment." So we went, did a night dive, didn't get everything done until maybe midnight that night, 1 o'clock in the morning maybe. Got ready to do my runs. Grabbed my rucksack, my backpack, and I started heading to the Paraloft Tower, and I saw something that infuriated me. My platoon chief, Jim, was sitting there at the door of the Paraloft Tower. So I'm thinking like, what, does he not trust me to do it? Is he gonna sit there with a stopwatch and hammer me while I'm doing it? I was infuriated. But as I got closer, I noticed that he was wearing a backpack on his back. Okay. So I get there and he says, "Hey, come on, man, let's hit it." And I asked him what was going on, and he said, "Listen, man, I'm your leader. We're going into something together. Your failures are my failures, your successes are my successes. Let's get some." And we started climbing up the stairs, and we hit this thing, stair after stair. What's amazing about it is he's never brought it up again. That entire night, he didn't give me a hard time. We just hit it together. We talked about God, family, and the rest of it for the next hour and a half of what was just absolutely brutal at the end of the day. And what he did in that moment wasn't teach me, hey, the value of being on time, plus or minus a minute on target, like all this stuff you would imagine to see in the movies. That's not what he did. What he did was he grabbed me and said, "You're mine. From here on out, we're in it together." So what did I do? I made a point to make my gear look exactly like his gear. We wore a lot of different setups for different environments, be it the land, the air, the water, or whatever else. I mimicked him. I emulated him in every way that I possibly could because he had done like 7 platoons. He'd been around the block. I had done nothing. Why learn things the hard way when I had the value of a mentor? So I say the best thing you can do in your life is to both have a mentor and be a mentor at the same time. You're never too young to be a mentor. My 7-year-old mentors my 5-year-old constantly. It's something that you can do right here and now. But if you don't have one, guess what? You're paying the man and it's costing you too much. Find someone you trust and trust them.